Kawaki is not evil. He is a victim to his previous trauma, however, and this has made it difficult for him, a kid, to function under the standards of normal society. Given the drastic measures he takes in Chapter 77 and onward, it can be pretty easy to interpret Kawaki as an irredeemable villain who bit the hand that fed him. And even right out of the gates in the opening pages of Chapter 1, two things are immediately conveyed to the reader. Kawaki is in clear opposition to our protagonist as the two prepare to battle atop the destroyed Hokage monument, and the other thing that's told to us in the audience is that Kawaki apparently has done something to Naruto. Meanwhile, the Leaf Village that our former protagonist loves so much is up in flames, having been destroyed, seemingly in his absence. But there's more to Kawaki than what's on the surface, and despite the fact that he's one of, if not the most popular character in the sequel series, he is equally one of the most misunderstood characters in the entire Naruto franchise. Hey, what's up guys, it's Momoshiki the JoJo, and today we're going to be talking about our least favorite Uzumaki, Kawaki. That can't be right. Really? When? Spoilers for Boruto Chapter 80? Well, if you say so. You said tell them to like the video and share it with their friends? And subscribe if they want more awesome Boruto and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure content like this all the time? Sounds good to me. Hey guys, I don't make the rules, so go ahead and destroy that like and subscribe button. But I won't hold you too long, we both know what you came here for. Let's get back into the video. Thanks guys. So first, I want to briefly go over the series of events that occurred and eventually led Kawaki to the low point that we see him in at the end of Chapter 80, and from there, we can kind of segue into the next section of the video, where I'll break down the 3 key moments that have defined how we, the audience, perceive him as a character. In addition, I want to look at the way characters in-universe perceive Kawaki, and sort of compare or even marry the two perspectives if possible. So we are introduced to Kawaki in Boruto Chapter 23, taking place in the final pages of the Ao arc. And yeah, he's edgy, but due to him being so sought after by the Kara organization, he is brought back to the Leaf Village and adopted by the Hokage himself, Naruto. Kawaki is of course very cautious, attempting to escape Naruto 3 times before realizing that running was futile. And you can tell that he's no stranger to cautious situations as he sits and evaluates how many enemies and exits are present in his near vicinity. Like look, he even counts Himawari as an enemy. But, of course, all the while he believes that Naruto wants something from him, but he just can't put his finger on what. When we see him flip the dining room table over, breaking Himawari's vase, we see that the one person who can get through to him is the only other person on the planet in his exact circumstances, that being the other Karma vessel and titular character Boruto. Kawaki shows a modicum of passion when he apologizes to Boruto, stating that breaking the vase wasn't intentional, but finally giving his name, having withheld it from everyone up until now. This is the first step he takes towards opening up to the Uzumaki family, but it is by no means perfect since, the following morning, Kawaki and Boruto have their first fight of the series, though it's cut short by Naruto. Following this event, the family have dinner, and while Kawaki is present, the scene is framed in a way to give off the feeling of isolation, despite the fact that he is officially part of the family. He sits at the end of the table, and there appears to be much more distance between himself and the rest of the Uzumaki family. This is where Kawaki decides that it's better to work with Boruto rather than against him, with the express goal of completely getting rid of the karma mark on the both of them. He even shares a story of how he received his from Jigen, before revealing that he constantly wishes that he had died as an incompatible vessel rather than surviving in the hell that he still lives in to this very day. He even goes as far as to say that he'll never know peace until his karma is removed. And Boruto does empathize, yet he still makes Kawaki aware that he's being a loser regardless of his awful circumstances. And that's what the first part of this arc is all about. Kawaki needs to learn the fundamental lessons of building, shaping, and maintaining healthy relationships with the people around him, and even more so, fixing the ones that he's broken. And this is conveyed no clearer than him attempting to repair the vase, not just to mend the relationships, but also for himself. He needs to piece himself together, since there unfortunately is still a major amount of baggage that he's carrying all by himself, and for once, he begins to feel as though he can finally begin healing. But painfully true to life, just when someone is finally on the road to bettering themselves, something from your past always comes to test your resolve and pull you back under, and in this case, this would be the Kara cyborg Delta. Around 4 days into living with the Uzumakis, his second worst fear came true when a member of Kara came to bring him back to Jigen, his abuser. And during this battle, Delta nearly kills Naruto, but Kawaki manages to step in, sacrificing his arm in order to save Naruto and Himawari. Here, he claims that he and Boruto are finally even for the vase, having been able to prove to himself and to Boruto that he has the capacity to be better and develop meaningful relationships. Following this battle, we get a brief montage of Kawaki attempting to acclimate to Konoha life with basic ninja training and hanging out with Boruto and his friends, and this is complemented by him repairing the broken vase all the while. This montage definitely spans the course of a few days, but I wouldn't put it at any longer than a week, seeing as how, while Koji notes Delta's attack took place a while ago, Jigen knowingly allowing Koji to sit around for something like a month doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, let's continue under the assumption that this montage spanned a few days to a week. The vase that he spent all this time reconstructing was covered in cracks, which would normally be no problem, but a very small piece was missing, and without it, no matter how many times he may try to fill the vase, there will always be a mess. And just like this vase, Kawaki still feels as though there's something missing in his life. This is emphasized in his conversation with Kurama, where he tells Kawaki that Naruto also felt as though something was missing, and the one thing that finally was able to fill the hole in him was friendship. And this deeply resonates with Kawaki, who asks if it's possible to be just like Naruto, setting up his idolization of the Hokage in later chapters. But throughout the entirety of the Konoha welcome montage, Kawaki never once smiles, and the reason being that Delta reminded him that no matter what he may try, Kara is still out there, and it's no longer a matter of if, but when they would come to get him. And earlier, when I mentioned Kawaki's second worst fear coming true when a member of Kara came to take him back, well, his number one fear came true when Jigen himself came to collect his precious vessel in chapter 36. This is where we see the verbal and manipulative abuse on full display. The abuse responsible for making the Kawaki we've been watching over the course of the last couple chapters who he is today. And this disdain for Jigen is so great that his karma advances to the point that he grows Ishiki's horn. And this disdain isn't just for Jigen, but it eventually extends to all Otsutsuki, regardless if their existence threatens Konoha or not, leading up to and even including Amado's daughter. He believes the entire clan to be possessed by evil and therefore must be destroyed. But if coming extremely close to losing Naruto in the Jigen fight wasn't bad enough, Ishiki Otsutsuki finally revives in Jigen's body, erasing Kawaki's karma, but he immediately returns to the village in order to put the karma back onto Kawaki. The plan is to keep Kawaki away from Ishiki until he expires, but this only serves to put him in an impossible predicament, deciding between dying to protect what you care about most or letting the thing you care about most die, forcing you to live on without them in your life. And lucky for Kawaki, he was able to avoid that grim fate for a little while longer when he finally was able to be the one to put his abuser down for good. But this piece didn't last 5 minutes as Momoshiki takes over Boruto before attempting to kill Naruto and Sasuke so that he can feed Kawaki to the Ten Tails, and this event, unbeknownst to everyone else, kicks off the beginning of Kawaki's downfall. So we're finally here at the section of the video where I want to go over the 3 major moments that contribute to the reality that many in the community are unable to gel with Kawaki as a character, and that's perfectly fine if that's the case for you. It's okay to not like a character and to not agree with the actions that they take. The purpose of this video isn't to change your opinion on Kawaki, and it isn't to make you think that he's justified. What I want to do is take a deeper look into the moments that shape him and see if we can't find and connect the dots on where he ends up in chapter 80. The first major event comes in the latter half of chapter 60. Naruto finds Kawaki sitting atop the Hokage monument where the former vessel confesses that he feels as though there is no place for him in the village. He even starts to consider that maybe Jigen was right about him being worth nothing but trouble. Of course, Naruto doesn't accept this even for a second, picking up and bringing Kawaki back home with him. When they arrive home, Kawaki realizes that the Uzumakis have thrown him a welcoming party, and Boruto even has a gift ready for him. The gift turns out to be Boruto's ninja headband, to which Kawaki is reluctant to accept, but he does, and when he tries it on, it is immediately decided that it doesn't look right on him. Even after everything he's been through, he still isn't completely convinced that Konoha is his home. So, he makes the decision that the only way he can be of use is to sacrifice himself to save not only Konoha, but also Naruto from the impending code assault. His plan is to once more take on the world alone if it means he can protect what he cares about. This moment is controversial to many because it seems as though Kawaki leaving the Leaf was sudden, almost a complete 180 for his character. This is because the timeline for how long he was living with the Uzumaki residents isn't exactly made clear. But as I went over earlier, I wouldn't give it any more than 2 weeks at the most, and that's being generous. But in the anime, this is drastically different as Kawaki seemingly lives with them for months due to the additional content that comes within the anime canon. It makes it a little harder to believe when Kawaki makes a selfish decision like this, or when he eventually spirals and completely turns on Boruto, when we see him hanging out and laughing with Himawari, having a good time playing ninja trading cards with Team 10, and going on missions with New Team 7. When he attempted to get used to village life in the manga, the point was that it was never working and that there was something in Kawaki himself that wasn't allowing him to truly give in. Here in the anime, he's even going to ninja school and making the most of his days as a Hidden Leaf citizen. This is why the eventual change feels so drastic and out of nowhere in the anime. But even so, his plan to go to Code is a terrible one anyway, requiring Boruto to come save him. especially since Code planned to feed Kawaki to the Ten-Tails, which would destroy the planet once a divine tree was cultivated, meaning that his sacrifice would be in vain. I don't hold this short-sighted plan against Kawaki, rather, I understand that he's making a desperate decision to save Naruto, no matter how selfish. And it is selfish because he puts his need to protect Naruto over the wants of everyone else and even puts their safety on the line by handing himself over to the unstable guy who plans to destroy the planet just because Ishiki told him to. And we know that by this point, Kawaki would do anything to protect Naruto, no matter the cost, no matter who dies in the process, even if it's Naruto's son. Oh wait, but this isn't the event I want to talk about because it is heavily communicated that Boruto chose to let Kawaki donut him, as per Shikamaru, the #1 Kawaki hater. But the next major event that we do need to go over is chapter 77, Naruto's final appearance before the hiatus. Because it's the beginning of his downward spiral into instability, much like Sasuke learning the truth about Itachi. Kawaki has the unfortunate luck of being used by everyone he comes across, and he realistically sees Konoha as no different. And while it wasn't the case when he originally arrived, it became the reality of the situation once Ada appears. Even Ada had the plan of using Kawaki for her own personal benefit, and the only reason he even played along was because Ada and Damon's existence threatened Naruto. It just so happens that Boruto of all people happened to be the one possessed by an evil Otsutsuki, the only other person on Earth who he cared about as much as Naruto, though not quite to the point of obsession. And the obsession is serious as, when Kawaki picks up Momoshiki's presence once again, everything else becomes moot as he gets tunnel vision and the only thing he can think about is taking him down, which consequently will result in the death of Boruto as well. And this is the cost that he's willing to pay to protect Lord 7th. So, when Shikamaru reminds Kawaki just how destroyed Naruto was at the sight of his own son being donated right in front of him, Kawaki realizes what he must do next. In his own twisted way of protecting them, he seals Naruto and Hinata after explaining to them his plan to hunt Boruto. He understands that he's a monster, and it clearly pains him to have to do this to Boruto of all people. He isn't an evil person, he doesn't kill indiscriminately, rather he has one goal to kill one person, and if anyone gets in his way, he considers them working with the enemy to put Naruto in danger. And speaking of the enemy, the final moment we need to cover is chapter 78, where Kawaki hits his lowest point yet. I think this one is probably the most misunderstood out of the three, but during the events of the previous chapter, Boruto and Kawaki exchange blows yet again, resulting in Boruto losing an eye and Sarada almost losing her life. When Kawaki is ambushed and captured, he is released by the interference of the very monster he's been trying to slay. While on the run, a wanted man for attacking Boruto and doing something to Naruto, Kawaki, at his most desperate point, understands completely why everybody is against him. He even acknowledges it. Yet, he doesn't care, citing that he doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is protecting Naruto and the village he cherishes so much. But unfortunately, Momoshiki possesses the Hokage's beloved son of all people, instead of some nobody outsider, much like how he sees himself. And here it became less about the two being brothers figuring out a difficult situation together like in chapter 56, to Kawaki being envious of who and where Boruto is, and for a brief moment wishing that the roles were reversed so that he could protect the one thing that he has left without anybody hating him for it. And I do want to stress that Kawaki finally found the one thing in life that gave him peace, and after a life of pain and suffering and torture, anyone in that situation might consider doing anything to keep from losing it, no matter how desperate they have to be. And this is where Kawaki is, cowering in the bushes as the Hidden Leaf's finest hunt him down. But when Ada shows up first, Kawaki unloads all of his problems onto her. For the first time in the series, he's finally venting to someone, and of all people, the one person who cannot control her power of omnipotence happens to be the one that he desperately and subconsciously wishes to swap lives with Boruto to. And through nobody's fault does omnipotence activate, effectively swapping the lives of Kawaki and Boruto, due to a desperate thought this kid had in a very vulnerable moment. Where I can understand the issue with Kawaki is the fact that once the change has been done, he's finally given an opportunity at what he wants no matter who it affects. He goes full throttle with it, even demanding Ada to tell Konoha that Boruto killed Naruto, making him the most wanted person in the entire shinobi world. And in the end, even Boruto doesn't blame Kawaki, stating that he was driven into a corner by his circumstances, and while his intentions were good-natured, his sense of justice is his, and he has that right, but it doesn't have to be that way. And that he's still being a loser regardless of his circumstances. The only lesson that Kawaki never truly learned was to rely more on others. He still wants to take on the world himself, even if it means the world ends up hating him for it. And the circumstances that followed were some that no one other than Momoshiki could have predicted, who actively made an effort to ensure that this future came to fruition. And once again being used, Kawaki played right into his hand. But Kawaki is not evil. I repeat, he is not evil. He is a victim. His abuse is twisted and mentally, as he's never had a good life or even a place to belong until his stay in Konoha, and when that was threatened, he did whatever he had to do in order to protect it. This doesn't excuse his actions, but it serves as an explanation to why, even when there's a more rational solution out there, someone like Kawaki, who only has one goal in mind, to protect, will never see it because he's too busy seeing the problem before him. And tunnel vision is a very serious thing that can lead even the best of us down roads we've never even intended to travel. And unfortunately, this ended up being the case for our most misunderstood Uzumaki, Kawaki. But yeah, that's Kawaki. Did you enjoy? Did you? If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this all the time. Honestly, if Sasuke can be redeemed, anybody can be redeemed, because that dude was actually crazy. I appreciate every last one of you for watching and all the support, guys, seriously. But why not comment down below what your thoughts on Kawaki are, and if you think there's a more misunderstood character out there. Why not also comment what you think about Sasuke and whether or not you believe he's been redeemed. Also, why not share it with your friends and your enemies so everyone can suffer together equally. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a safe day. I'm out. Holla!